But anyway, this is very important thing. So understanding the meaning of Six Sigma. Simply, I have shown a process, spread is more, spread is less. Spread less means no defect-free output, but spread more means there are a lot of defects. But what it actually means, how all the knowledge comes, right? And that is what we are going to see in this particular session. So we'll understand why statistics is required in our domain. We can continue with just our domain knowledge, but if you mix up the statistical knowledge and your existing domain knowledge, you will be highly successful and you will be quickly successful. So basic statistics and a little bit about normal distribution we will learn in this session, and then we'll talk about specification limit and control limit, and then we'll try to understand the difference between 3 Sigma process and 6 Sigma process. Earlier we compared Lean and 6 Sigma. Now we are going to compare 3 Sigma and 6 Sigma. That means you will understand the Sigma level. When you can correctly understand the difference between 3 Sigma and 6 Sigma, then 4 Sigma, 5 Sigma, 4.5 Sigma, 7 Sigma, these are all easy to understand job for you. And also you correctly understand the relationship between Sigma, which is standard deviation, and Sigma level, which is your capability, and how it is beneficial to your customers, yourself, and your organization. All right. And see here, there is a ring of fire here. Ring of fire. When I want you to jump inside the ring of fire and tell me what will be your option, where will you jump inside the ring of fire? Can somebody share your view?
Middle.
Center, sir.
Center, sir.
Center, sir.
Why all of you are choosing center? Why nobody want to jump around the the ring? We don't want to be hit by the temperature, right? Same way, can you think of producing products in such a way that the products are not getting rejected by the customer? Good question, right? When we want to jump inside the ring of fire, we want it to be safer. Can you have same thinking in your business also? Try to produce products at a safer zone. Never go to the risky zone. What is risky zone? The temperature is the risky zone. Outside of the ring, towards the boundary of the ring, it's a risky. So the center is the safest point. Center is the safest point. Can you center your process at a safest point? Can you center your business process at a safest point? Automatically, all rest will be taken care. The risk of being hit by the temperature will be very minimum when you target the center. See, when targeting is different, performing is different. I can target the center, but actually when I jump, I may jump somewhere here. Am I correct or not? I've targeted here, but actually when I perform, I will come here. Similarly, when you design a process, your outputs are expected here, but actually when you run the process, your outputs can be away from the target. So you need to be careful whether your design and performance are same. Whether the design and performance are same, you can understand statistically by locating the central tendency in your process. By locating the central tendency in your process. All of you said, sir, I will go to the center only. Same way, where is your process want to go? Whether your process want to operate at the safe point or it want to move away. That can be understood from the statistical parameter called the central tendency. So this is the preferred point. This is the target, but always meeting the target repeatedly is challenging job. Customer gives you tolerance. So point is now converted into a circle. Why? Tolerance is now added. Now you jump repeatedly within the white color circle, your customer will be very happy. Since you are able to jump repeatedly within the white color circle, I am your customer. I have become very happy. I got excited with the way you are performing. Now I want you to jump 100 times. I am ready to pay for it. I want you to jump 100 times, and every jump you make $1,000. Now 100 jumps within 1 hour. Tell me how many of you will make all 100 jumps within the white color circle? Possible?
No, not possible.
Difficult.
No,
When the customer increases the demand, your performance will definitely will go down. Am I correct? Today you are producing 1,000 units a day, and some customer is very impressed with the level of quality. He is placing a new order. Now what will happen to your performance? It will go down. You should not always try to meet the current requirements. You must keep the future requirements in mind. Do you all understand the point? If you design the process to meet the current requirement, you will fail miserably in the future. If the demand, any organization will obviously grow. That means the demand will increase. If you start doing good things, the demand will increase. You should be able to sustain your results. So two things. So this is important. So your current capability as well as your future capability, both are important. And now 100 jumps when you make, definitely few jumps you might make outside the circle. Now you are in the yellow color zone. Now further increase in the demand will make you jump in the orange color zone. What happens? Slowly you have come to the ring, isn't it? Slowly you have come closer to the temperature. That means when you move away from the center, your risk of being hit by the temperature increases. Can we allow the risk to increase? We should not. When we are focused on our performance, two things are important. One thing is our tendency, our central tendency. Other thing is our inconsistency in deviating from the target. Central tendency in any business process can be understood using mean, median, and mode. Central tendency in any business process can be understood using mean, median, and mode. Mean will tell you where do you want to jump. Median will tell you where do you want to jump. Mode will tell you where do you want to jump. You no need to tell. You would simply make 100 jumps. I will measure something. I will calculate what is your intention. Whether you are really interested in jumping at the center, but you are interested in falling on that flame. I can find out. Clear? And then your inconsistency. Are you consistently jumping around the center, or you are consistently moving away from the center? Which is good for you? Consistently jumping around the center or consistently moving away from the center? Which is good for you?
Around the center.
Yeah. Similarly, in your company, when you are producing products, are you consistently producing products around the target, or are you consistently producing products away from the target? That is important. If you are deviating away from the target or deviating away from the center, slowly your business will fall down. Why not we be proactive and prevent failures by monitoring both? Two things. One is central tendency. How to monitor central tendency? Mean, median, and mode. Another thing is your inconsistency or the deviation from the center. The deviation from the center is called variation or spread. If the variation increases or spread increases, please understand your process is moving away from the center. Your process is moving away from the center means something dangerous is going to happen very soon. How can I understand? There are parameters like range, standard deviation, and variance. Are you familiar with all these things? Can you just say yes or no? Do you know what is mean? Mean is otherwise called average. All of you know how to calculate average?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Do you know median? What is median?
Yes, sir.
Median means central
Middle value.
middle value. You no need to calculate average. You arrange the item in an ascending order or descending order. See here, I have arranged some number 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 5. Now, what is the median?
3.
That is indicated in red color. And mode means the frequently occurring number. Which number is frequently occurring here?
3.
3.
That is also 3. I have written some number in such a way that you get mean equal to median equal to mode. Right? So by referring to the mean, median, and mode, you can understand where are you centering your process. Where are you centering your process? And whether your process is continuously deviating from the point where you have centered it by measuring range, standard deviation, and variance. Can somebody tell me what is range here in this number? What is range? What is range actually?
1 to 5.
5.
1 to 5.
Maximum minus
1 to
minimum.
3.
Maximum is 5, minimum is 1, so range is 4. If the range is more, what do you understand? Deviation is more,
Variation height.
isn't it? I want to produce everything around 3. If everything is around 3, why do I get 4 in the range? So range will help you to understand the amount of variation. Do you want the variation to be higher or you want the variation to be lower?
Lower.
You want the
Lower.
variation to be
Lower.
lower. Similarly, standard deviation and variance can also help you to understand the amount of variation. Ultimately, in any business, variation should be as low as possible and central tendency should be around the target. Clear? Let us say we have fixed pass mark as 60. We have fixed pass mark as 60. And so, what is the good target now for the exam? 80. Because going to the boundary is always avoid. You should avoid. 60 is the pass mark, means all of you should aim to score 80. And the exam is conducted. Now everybody is scoring around 80. Now what will be the average score? Average score will also be around 80. Getting the average around your target creates a very healthy scenario. Clear? At the same time, the range of mark, let us say somebody scored 90 mark and somebody scored only how much? 30 marks. What is 30 and 90 average? Average is 60. Average comes to be pass mark, but one of the mark is fail mark, 30. So when you allow the range to increase, these problem will come. Some of your products will become defective. So range should also be in control while controlling our central tendency. Either you monitor range or you monitor standard deviation or you monitor variance. There is a relationship between variance and standard deviation. Anybody know it? What is the relationship between standard deviation and variance? You don't know or you don't want to tell me? The relationship between standard deviation and variance. So one is the square of the other. Tell me which is square of the other. Standard deviation is square of the variance or variance is square of the standard deviation? Dash is square of dash. I'll give 3 options. That will be one question in the exam. So variance is the square of standard deviation. All right. So which one will be higher, variance or standard deviation?
Variation.
Variance. Because variance is the squared value of standard deviation. Very good. And now, this simple example, imagine you have a parking area in your house. You have a parking area in your house and you have got 3 cars. 1 car, very big car. 1 car, medium. 1 car is small. I want you to park your car inside the parking area. And tell me, will you be able to park this bigger car inside the parking area?
No, sir.
No, sir.
If you still try to park the car inside, what will happen to your car?
Car gets damaged.
Car gets damaged. Similarly, in your organization, any business process will have its own size. Car has got a size. Parking area has got a size. And size of the car, since it is more than the parking area size, damage is sure if you run the car. Similarly, process will have a size. Customer will give you some tolerance. When the customer tolerance is like the parking area, process tolerance is the size of the car. If your process tolerance is more than the customer tolerance, your process anyway will produce defective items. You cannot escape from rejection. Definitely there will be defects. Definitely there will be rejection. How can you understand? By understanding the size of the process. If you want to understand the size of the process, for example, you want to understand the problem with the car now. How will you measure? You will take an inch tape. Will you measure the car horizontally or vertically now? Should I measure like this or should I measure like this? Which one will be helpful to me now?
D1.
Horizontally, right? Same way, Same way, any process, the horizontal spread is important. Horizontal spread of the process is important. From the center, to what extent it has spreaded on the right, to what extent it has spreaded on the left. To understand the spread, you need to locate the control limit. You need to locate the control limit, right? And now, second car and parking area almost the same. I can park the car comfortably without damage. But after parking, when I open the door, my car door is hit in the wall. Am I correct? Same way, when you keep the process size, or we call it process width, equal to the customer specification width, everything may look good, but something slightly goes wrong, you will see a failure. You will see a lot of failure. So this is second scenario. Now third scenario, car is very, very small. Car is just half of the parking area. And now tell me, can you comfortably park this car? Third one.
Sir.
So,
Even something goes wrong. Let us say one day you are parking the car so many times. Will you be able to park the car, safe all the times? Possible.
Yes.
Because you have such a big, allowance on both sides. Even if you make small mistake due to urgency, you take left too much or you take right too much, then also your car is safe. Similarly, in your business also, these kind of deviations will always happen. People will not work the way you have instructed them. The supplier will not supply the raw material in the same quality. The machine setting will not remain in the same condition every single day. Some operator will take leave and then some other operator will now operate the machine. These are all called deviations, small deviations. You can't avoid these deviations or variations. So those deviations and variations, if you don't want those variations to affect your product quality, you have to make sure your process size is smaller compared to the specification width. Your process width should be smaller compared to the specification width, so that even if something goes wrong, because you can't keep everything in the same condition. So this, to make your process capable, now the point is process tolerance should be our process width should be smaller compared to the specification width. Now what are specification limits in my example? What are specification limit? In this example, what is the specification limit?
Width of
Specification limit or rejection point. What are rejection point here? Can I go and hit the wall? The right side wall. The right side wall, the D ends here. The right side wall is called upper specification limit. You should not touch this. Left side wall is also another specification limit. We call it lower specification limit. You should not touch both the walls when you want to drive your car. Similarly, customer will give you a target, will give you an allowance or tolerance. Target plus or minus tolerance will define USL, LSL. Clear? And now, imagine yourself as a pilot. I want you to land your aircraft in the runway. When you are going to land your aircraft in the runway, again your interest will be to land in the center. I hope all of you will agree with me, right? That is why I have marked the points around the center. I really wanted to understand your capability because I am going to appoint you in my airline and I want to see your real landing capability. So you are landing so many times. I am asking you to land so many times and you are landing like this. So many landings, a few more landings. And now do you see most of your landings are around the center as I have expected. I wanted you to land in the center. Most of your landings are around the center. That means what? That means you can be considered for appointment, right? That means you can be considered for appointment. And now some of your landings are deviated from the center. That is true or not? True. You see approximately half of your landing on the right side, approximately half of your landing on the left side. Clear? Approximately half of your landings on the right side, approximately half of your landings on the left side, and most of your landings are crowded or clustered. We call it clustered around the center. When I visualize your landing pattern using some data. I understand it looks like a bell. I understand it looks like a bell. This kind of distribution is called normal distribution. You can very easily see this distribution in most of the data. In most of the data collected from any business, you can see the moment you understand your data exhibits a normal distribution, your process becomes predictable. Your process becomes predictable. If process becomes predictable, your results also becomes predictable. A predictable process can be controlled very well, can be improved very well. And so your results will also improve, right? And now the central tendency of landing is here. And now this is where you and me wanted to land the aircraft. This is where actually you tried. Your intention is understood by me as a recruiter. I understand your intention by calculating the average using all the points, right? And this is the worst output or worst, this is your worst landing. Am I right? This is your worst landing on the right side. The worst landing on the right side or the worst output that can come from your process can be considered as upper control limit. The worst output that can come from your process can be considered as upper control limit. Similarly, on the left side, your worst landing is here. This is called lower control limit. The runway ends here. That is called upper specification limit. The runway ends here on the left side. That is called lower specification limit. Now, what is your assessment on the pilot? Is that pilot good to fly? Can we trust him? Even if he makes the worst landing, still we are safer. So if you see your control limits inside the specification limits, your business is capable. Failures cannot happen easily. Do you understand? But if you see the control limits falling outside the specification limit, you are risking your life by flying with the pilot. All right. So this is customer target. Make sure your customer target and your business average, process average, lie in the same point. This USL. What is this? LSL. The remaining blue color arrow represents, what are they called? Can somebody tell me? What is this point?
Control limit. Upper control limit.
Upper control limit and lower control limit. UCL, LCL. I think the terminologies are now familiar. And getting control limit inside specification limit is the challenge in any business. If you make it happen, all rest is taken care of. And now I'm showing you 3 pilots. And tell me with whom you want to fly. The red, green or yellow.
Green
Why?
is near to target.
Close to
Near to target. If somebody is near to target, that is preferred. And can you comment about the consistency? Who is consistent?
Green.
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 yellow.
No, you are going wrong. All three are equally consistent.
Resistance. Yes.
All 3 are. He consistently land outside. He consistently land in the center. He consistently land here. Consistency is there, but that means
Accuracy.
But sample size is high enough. Sample 3.
yeah, 3. We have taken only 3 or 5. That's fine. Actually, the variation is same with all, but problem is with the central tendency. You understand now the nature of the problem. We can connect it to statistics. Whether the problem is variation or problem is central tendency. Now this person, this pilot, both are favorable. For him, variation is not a problem. Central tendency is a problem. For him also, central tendency is the major problem. All right. So what are our learnings? Always customer target and process average should be at the same point. And then deviation from the target is not preferred in any business. That you can understand by measuring variation. How will you measure variation? Range, standard deviation, variance. How will you locate central tendency? Mean, median, mode. And now customer limits are nothing but USL, LSL. Whenever you cross USL and LSL, customer is going to reject your product. Whenever customer rejects your product, that is called external failure. You are allowing a customer to detect a failure. But if you know Six Sigma and all these principles, anything if it happens outside control limit, that is also considered a failure. You may land your aircraft in the runway only, but I will not appoint you if you land your aircraft outside the control limit, right? Because outside the control limit means still it is in the runway, but no, your according to the normal distribution, most of your outputs will be around the center and within the control limit only. So if anything happens outside the control limit, I will still consider that as a failure and then make appropriate changes in my business. All right. Hope all of you have played this balloon game or balloon shooting game in beaches. Am I correct? You should have played, right? Now imagine your goal is you need to shoot the balloon in the center. What is the color of the balloon in the center? Is it yellow color?
Red.
Red color. If you want to shoot that, okay, if you want to shoot that red color balloon here, what is first important? You must hold your gun in the correct position. Correct? You should know how to hold the gun. This is what we are estimating with the average. So holding the gun in the correct position is very important. That is the beginning of your success. So at least average should be on the target. And then I shoot it. And now it hits the target. I again shoot it. Right? Again, it hits the target. I again and again shoot it. Why I again and again shoot it? Because my customer wants me to produce again and again. I should consistently hit it. And my consistency is measured in sigma. My holding of the gun is measured in average. Do you think both are important for your success? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Both are important. Where should be your X bar should be on the target? Your sigma should be as low as possible. This is the requirement. So hold the gun correctly and then hit the target consistently. You will be paid for every hit. Every hit, $100. Now you hit as much money as you want. So business can produce a lot of profit. So now importance of standard deviation. See here, a set of people want to cross the river. So I collect some data from the river across A, across B, and across C. I found the average to be same across all three routes. Does it mean all three routes are expected to have same risk, or the risk can be still different? The risk can be
Different, sir.
average equal doesn't mean risk is also equal.
Risk is different.
Risk is different. So if you want to understand, you must calculate the standard deviation. For A, I am calculating for route A, I am calculating the standard deviation. There are 6 data, I calculate average. Then deviation from the center, that is called X minus X bar. Difference between 4 and 4 is 0. Difference between 2 and 4 minus 2. So this is the deviation. This is the total deviation. Total deviation is 0. Does it mean the walk through the river is a cakewalk, or will there be ups and downs? There will be ups and downs. So this mathematics is fooling us. It doesn't mean deviation is 0 and our walk is going to be a cakewalk. There is going to be challenges. So in order to capture the challenges, is it okay with all the participants?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
10 more minutes, right? So the deviation is total deviation, total squared deviation is captured, and total squared deviation is divided by n minus 1 because I am interested in the average deviation. For average deviation, n minus 1, n is 6, so n minus 1 is 5. So as a result, I get 1.2. This 1.2 is called variance. All of you understand now what is variance? Sum of the squared deviation divided by n minus 1. That is called variance. And now when I take the square root, that will be called what? Standard deviation. Why I have two things. One is variance, another one is standard deviation. Variance is a squared value. The depth of the river is measured in, let us say, centimeter. So this unit will be here, centimeter square.
Yeah.
But what will be the unit of standard deviation? When it takes square root again, centimeter squared will again come back to centimeter. That is why we require standard deviation. All right, all of you are with me? Working with the squared unit is difficult. So I want to work with the normal unit. And now same way I calculate for root B. For root B, it is 1.87. Now I calculate for root C, that is 1.82. Now tell me, which root is now more safer? A or B or C? Come on.
A.
Now the safest route is A.
A.
You can take all your people, cross the water stream by walking through route A, but not through route B or route C. How did I manage to take the decision? Somehow I managed to collect some data from the river. And of course, the river is so big, I can't measure too much data. But with some amount of data, I could make the best possible decision. This is how you should take decision in your company also. When you are producing 1,000 units every day, can you check all 1,000 parts every single day? Not possible, isn't it? You will only take a sample, measure, and then judge on your entire lot. All of you are with me on this? So this is the formula for standard deviation, square root of summation of x minus x bar the whole square by n minus 1. And the graph, what you are seeing on the right side is the bell-shaped distribution, nothing but the normal distribution. In normal distribution, in order to understand the normal distribution, you need to calculate central tendency and standard deviation. Central tendency is nothing but average, which is indicated as mu here, and standard deviation is sigma. Once you know mu and sigma, now you have understood the curve. The curve is available up to infinity on the right side. Similarly, up to minus infinity on the left side. The curve will never touch your x-axis. The curve is called an asymptote to the x-axis, which means it will never touch the x-axis. Will you be able to go up to infinity to understand the endpoint? We can't go. So let us go to the maximum extent possible. Generally, people go up to 3 sigma on the right, 3 sigma on the left. And so this point at 3 sigma, the point 3 sigma away from the center is called control limit. Similarly, point on the left side is also called control limit. This is upper control limit and lower control limit. If you can go up to control limit on right and left, you have covered 99.73% of the curve, or 99.73% of the outputs can be understood if you locate the control limits using average and standard deviation. So what is that you are not able to understand? Only 0.27%. And we will never try to produce anything in that 0.27%. That means everything we produce will be accepted by the customer. All of you are with me on my statement? I have understood 99.73% of my outputs, and I will never produce output outside 99.73. Because I don't have much challenge to produce products within control limit, right? So 99 points, I'm very sure that 99.73% of my products are going to be within the control limits, right? If I have the average and sigma known to me. This is very important rule. All right. And now these are the properties of normal distribution. The mean, mode, and median, they're all equal. In any normal distribution curve, your mean, median, mode will be equal. The curve will be symmetric at the center. See here, I draw a center line, exactly 50% on the right side, 50% on the left side. That 50% divided like this, 34, 13, 2.1, and balance. The balance, you don't have to worry, it is very less, right? And the total area under the curve is 99.73% of the area will always lie inside 3 sigma limit. And now, up to 1 sigma, can somebody tell me what is the percentage of the curve that lies within 1 sigma?
68.
Very good. Approximately 68% of your outputs or 68% of your products will lie within average plus or minus 1 sigma. If you know average and sigma, you can start predicting very well. If you know, if you go up to 2 sigma, 68 plus this 27, you will understand about 95% of your output. If you go up to 3 sigma, you understand about 99.73% of the output. What you are not able to account by working up to control limit is only 0.27. And you see to that, you never produce output outside control limit. Producing around the target is the challenge. Producing inside control limit is never a challenge. Isn't it? That is easy job. All right. And now once you have the average and standard deviation of the river, what is the average of the river? 4 feet. What is the standard deviation of the river? Let us say 1 feet. Now can somebody tell me, can somebody try to describe the river? You measured some 100 points, you have taken the data, but river is running for several acres. Now will you be able to describe the river with the data available in your hand? Average is 4 feet. Standard deviation is 1 feet. Can somebody describe the river? Have you ever described something? At least your wife? Same way, now you have river and average and standard deviation is known. Will you be able to make some comments about the river? Difficult? Feeling
Yes, sir, we can
hungry?
make.
Hungriness is the problem, I think. 68% of the river will have depth 4 plus or minus 1 feet. Looks logical? 68% of the river will have depth 4 plus or minus 1 feet. 95% of the river will have depth 4 plus or minus 2 feet. What is 1 feet? What is that plus or minus? Sigma level. When I add 1 sigma, 68% of the river I am able to judge. When I add 2 sigma, 95% of the river I am able to judge. When I add 3 sigma on the right and left, almost the entire river I am able to understand. What is the lowest depth in the river? 4 feet minus 3 feet, which is 1 feet. What could be the maximum depth? 4 plus 3, 7 feet. If only very less areas in the river might have depth more than 0.27. Your risk is understood. This is how statistics works. This is how people calculate many unknown things. For example, how many dolphins are there in the sea? How do you know? Do you go and meet every dolphin and count and come back? It is not possible, right? So you do a sample study, calculate the average, calculate the standard deviation, and then you make a judgment. This is how we need to do in our company also. Same way, same question. What proportion of products and services your customer might reject? You don't
For the USL and LSL products.
Exactly. So by understanding where is your control limit, you can understand whether your customer will reject your product or accept your product. If you position the control limit inside the specification limit, do you think the customer will be able to reject your product?
No.
The chance you are giving is only 0.27. The chance you are giving is only 0.27. So now tell me, average is a measure of central tendency or variation?
Central tendency.
Central tendency.
Standard deviation is a measure of consistency or inconsistency?
Consistency.
Consistency. That means if there is the standard deviation is more, that means you are more consistent?
No. Standard deviation should be less.
That means standard deviation is a measure of your inconsistency. You need to keep the standard deviation smaller. What proportion of points are expected to lie inside control limit?
9.7.
So remember this number.
Points are.
Standard deviation is always a positive value.
True.
Yes.
Squaring.
Normal distribution is symmetrical about the center.
Yes.
True or false?
True.
True.
Total area under any curve or normal distribution curve is 100%. True or false?
False.
Total area means always, total is 100 always. Total mark of the exam is 100, but how much you score is different. So total area under the normal curve is 100%, that is true. But within control limit, it is 99.73. Control limit are nothing but 3 sigma limit. 2 sigma limits are called warning limit. Why do I call 2 sigma limit as warning limit? Because when I go beyond, only less available beyond this. So don't go, something like that. So 2 sigma limits are called warning limit. 3 sigma limits are control limit, and beyond 3 sigma limits, your dangerous results are there. You wanted to see, you go there. Otherwise, control your sigma and make sure your control limit is always closer to the center. So still some questions are there. Control limit stay inside specification limit. Can I now consider my process capable or not capable?
Capable.
Very good. Specification limits are provided by manufacturer or customer.
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 Control limits are calculated using customer
Standard.
data or process data.
Process data.
Process data.
Very good. If you want to know your control limit, you must go to your process, collect some live data and calculate for yourself. Nobody can tell you. You have to collect. If the history of data is available, if your boss knows it, he can tell you. Otherwise, you have to find it out. But specification limit, customer can give you always. So 6 sigma is a methodology to reduce the defects by reducing the variation. Thereby, our performance improves on CTQ. We call it critical to quality. So what we do is we stop here. And thank you for giving me that additional time. So we'll continue after your lunch.